Hello, dear UPSC aspirants. I am Akriti Kanchi, your mentor from Prep IAS, and I'm trying to help you read newspaper in UPSC relevant manner. Today is 23rd April. Yesterday, the results were announced, and a lot of fortunate ones found their name in the final list. And I hope most of you are able to find the same next year, almost this time, right? So, but doing the right process will make sure that most of you will reach there, right? So process is very important. Output might be just the consequence of it. Just focus on the process every day. Okay, so let's start with reading newspaper every day. 23rd April, a lot of content from prelims and especially essay point of view. There is a article or a quiz on William Shakespeare that we will see how to use in the essay. Let's start with the front page. A very misfortunate incident happened in Pahalgam, Jammu and Kashmir. Extremely sad after a long time. 26 killed in Jammu and Kashmir, terrorist attack in Pahalgam. Lot of tourists were killed. This comes under GS paper 3, internal security. Role of non-state actors, terrorists in creating challenges to internal security. So this affects our economy, the trust of people and how to go into those locations, okay? So this happened. People were in the trekking paradise of Bai Saran Meadows in the upper reach of Pahalgam. The attack in Anantnag district came on the same day when US Vice President is visiting. The Resistance Front, an offshoot of Lashkar-e-Taiba, claimed responsibility for the attack. Next article, J.D. Vance, the Vice President of USA, calls for closer India-USA relations. This comes under GS paper 2, India-US relations. Why I have taken this article? There's nothing much here, but one statement of his that can be used as a conclusion in Indo-US relation answer. So pitching for closer ties in defense and energy sectors. Why is Vice President emphasizing on defense and energy sector? Because they have a lot to sell to us. Okay, they want to increase their imports to us, and they, in defense and energy, they are they have much more expertise and technology, right? And then he's mentioning that his country's USA's relations with India would determine the world's future in the 21st century. So you can use this as a sentence or a quote in answer. Let's move to the next article. So this I have just chosen from prelims point of view. You should know what is there in the borders of India with the neighboring countries. Saha addresses, the Tripura Chief Minister addresses flood fears over Bangladesh border embankment. This comes as a prelims fact. So Bangladesh is doing border embankments on the bordering rivers. So what are the bordering rivers between India and Bangladesh? Okay, his government has taken necessary measures in response to construction of a massive embankment. So flood-prone Muhuri River is there in the South Tripura district bordering Bangladesh, where Bangladesh is building embankments. Muhuri River, okay, and it can affect Belonia town, Balamukh and Amjad Nagar localities in Tripura. And other river is the pre-monsoon maintenance of the dam on the banks of Manu River. So Muhuri River, Manu River on the border between Bangladesh and Tripura, that is India. Let's put the next article. So Madhya Pradesh is doing great in the area of conservation, especially in tigers. So with big cat count rising, Madhya Pradesh to develop buffer zone around its 9 tiger reserves. Okay, this comes under GS paper 3, conservation measures. So Madhya Pradesh cabinet approved a scheme for developing buffer zones in the state's 9 tiger reserves. So it is important so that the tigers are not going to the local, going into the areas of local communities, and neither local communities are coming into the areas of tigers. Okay, so that's why development of buffer zones in tiger reserves. What are they doing? Installation of chain link fencing in ecological sensitive buffer areas. Okay, so chain link fencing will be there. Other is implementation of wildlife protection and fire safety measures so that animals are not affected by it. Development of grasslands and water sources. Why grasslands are important? Because of grasslands there will be herbivores. Herbivores are food for this carnivores tiger. So grasslands and water resources are important. Health monitoring and treatment of wild animals. Skill development training programs for local communities, so that if they can have their occupation and employment in something else, they will not go into the forest for their livelihood. Okay, so these are good initiatives which you can mention as a conservation measures around this kind of protected areas, and also man-animal conflict. You can give this points there also if the question is coming about man-animal conflict. Madhav National Park in March became the 9th tiger reserve in the state. What are the other 8 tiger reserves? If you know what are the other 8 tiger reserves in Madhya Pradesh, please mention in the comments. As a UPSC aspirant, you should know about national parks, tiger reserves, biosphere reserves in India. Okay, there are very important biosphere reserves also in Madhya Pradesh. Panna Biosphere Reserve, Amarkantak, Achanakmar Biosphere Reserve, and Pachmadi Biosphere Reserves. Okay, let's move to the next article. Yeah, so matters that count. So that order of Supreme Court in the case of Tamil Nadu versus Governor of Tamil Nadu is still going on. A lot of people think this is this a good separation of power, or it is a interference in separation of power. So this is a written by a writer. Matters that count under GS paper 2, separation of power between various organs, that is executive, legislature, judiciary, 3 organs of the government. Okay, so judicial review of legislative and executive decision is an integral part of India's constitutional democracy. Decisions of the executive and legislature can be examined by judiciary whether it is constitutionally correct or not, and it is part of judicial review, is part of basic structure doctrine. Basic structure doctrine was brought by Kesav Nanda Bharti case. Article 13, which articles in constitution gives right to Supreme Court and High Court about the judicial review? Article 13 gives the judiciary the power to strike down laws that are violating fundamental rights. Articles 32 and 226, Article 32 and 226 gives the right to Supreme Court and High Court respectively the power to issue writs for the enforcement of fundamental rights. Okay, so judiciary is expected to insulate the law from the pressure of public opinion. So in recent judgment that set timelines for the governor and president for acting in laws passed by assembly, the Supreme Court restored the authority of the elected legislature. So there are a lot of points in favor, in against. You should be ready with both. Let's move to the next article. So this article, the first 2 part is too critical, so it is not required. That's why I'm not marked. But some part we can take because there are certain suggestions. So what can be done? A move that endangers the right to vote. The right to vote has come in prelims question. The right to vote is whether a fundamental right, constitutional right, legal right. So right to vote is a constitutional right. Okay, this comes under GS paper 2, constitutional body, Election Commission India, responsibilities and function. So Election Commission of India wants to remove the duplication of voter identity card. Okay, so it is seeing what all can be done. Okay, so this writer is against the connection of voter card with Aadhaar card because UIDAI, the statutory body, taking care of Aadhaar, has affirmed that even non-citizens residing in India for 182 days are eligible for Aadhaar. So Aadhaar is not just for citizens but for residents also, and voting is just for citizens. Okay, so how with the merging of both will take place? And Supreme Court in famous case Justice K.S. Puttaswamy versus the Union of India had limited the use of Aadhaar for welfare programs paid out of the Consolidated Fund of India per Section 7 of the Aadhaar Act 2016. Okay, so ECI is a constitutional body under Article 324 in the Part 15 of the Constitution. UIDAI is a statutory body operating under executive control bound by government directives under Section 50 of Aadhaar Act 2016. Okay, so interesting, UIDAI with electoral data might not be right according to the constitutional provisions. CAG also found a lot of issues in Aadhaar numbers. There was a lot of duplication. A lot of residents were also there, and those residents also sometimes did not have proof of residence. Okay, so that is also a little questionable. So he's suggesting traditional time-tested methods of voter verification will be better rather than linking voter card and Aadhaar. Regular door-to-door verification by booth-level officers, independent audits of electoral rolls, functional public grievance redressal frameworks, and more effective introducing independent oversight through social audits. Okay, and accountability. The right to vote is a constitutional guarantee, as I just told you. Let's move to the next article. Right to vote is a constitutional right. Exploring India's potential in the Arctic region. We have covered this few days back also in the text and context page, that Arctic region with the climate change, rise in CO2 gases, rise in mean sea level, the Arctic area, which is mostly frozen, is getting melted, and it will be open for trading in some years, which is not a very good thing for the nature, but for economic advantage of countries are very much focusing on that. Okay, so this comes under GS paper 1, changes in critical geographical features, water bodies and ice caps. The frozen frontier of Arctic serves as a canary in the coal mines for the impending climate catastrophe. Okay, it is also a great geopolitical leverage as sea levels continue to rise and new trade emerge. India should also try to find its commercial opportunity. September Arctic sea ice is now shrinking at a rate of 12.2% per decade compared to average extent during the period from 1981 to 2010, NASA's report. Okay, so this will lead to opening up of a new trade route called as Northern Sea Route, which will connect Atlantic and the Pacific. Northern Sea Route. Okay, so a lot of countries are vying, and also India should take an participation in that. India began its engagement with the Arctic early by signing the Svalbard Treaty in 1920, and is the only developing nation besides China that has its Arctic research base Himadri. Okay, so there are models that says the loss of sea ice in the Arctic or Eurasian northern hemisphere could influence India's monsoon patterns. This we have talked about recently also, that northern hemisphere's ice loss of sea will affect India's monsoon patterns and thereby agriculture. So India's Arctic policy was released in 2022. Okay, it needs to be streamlined because the ships required to trade in this northern sea route has to be stronger. Okay, because the waters there will be very turbulent. Okay, so the shipbuilding muscle has to go stronger. The 2025-26 budget has set up $3 billion maritime development fund for the shipping industry. Okay, so adequate investment in ice breaking fleets and other structural upgrades are required. Okay, so all the Arctic Circle India Forum is going to be held, and nature climate change is saying that already Earth has breached 1.5 degrees Celsius mark above the pre-industrial level. Okay, and so but now India has to see from where it will take the benefits, whether Russia or US-led Western Bloc. Okay, so with a vast Arctic coastline, extensive experience in Arctic navigation, Russia is an obvious partner. Chennai Vladivostok maritime corridor is emerging as a potential bridge to the northern sea route. Ports such as Pevek, Tiksi and Sabeta. Okay, so but complying with Russia and China are being very good partners there. So China is having a polar Silk Road, which is an extension of Belt and Road Initiative, which was hindering with the territorial sovereignty of India in the Ladakh and the POK regions. Okay, so if India aligns with Russia, it is agreeing to the China's Silk Polar and Belt Road Initiative. So that will be a problem if we go with Russia. And the other, if India supports the Western Bloc and partners with the US, it could lose its perceived benefits that it can get with Russia. So it has to walk a midway with other similar countries like Japan and South Korea, right? So that is what is the article about. Let's put the next article. There's nothing much here, not of our use. So here there is a term called infodemic. Okay, you should know what is the phenomena of infodemic. It can come in GS paper 1 society also and GS paper 2. Okay, so targeted campaigns and pointed propaganda have made their way directly to private messages, shaping public opinion and discourse in unexpected ways and thereby offering a modern means to electoral victory. So nowadays, a lot of messages are sent to us which doesn't have, which has half truth or no truth at all, right? So these propaganda is affecting us. This is called phenomena of infodemic. The phenomena of infodemic. Pandemic, information combined becomes infodemic. The pandemic which will come out of wrong information disbursement. The word initially referred to the deluge of misleading information during COVID-19, but it now applies equally to the continual onslaught of propaganda, half-truths and outright falsehoods, okay? With internet penetration in India reaching 88 crore people, okay, WhatsApp, Indian people using WhatsApp is 59 crores, okay? So digital strategies used by all kind of organizations have become indispensable. Manipulated images, misleading messages infiltrate local networks, okay? Central to the political infodemic is the covert infiltration of private WhatsApp groups, okay? So these are the issues with infodemic. You can use it in your mains answer. This kind of keywords will increase the quality of your answers. Next article. So here it is written that the choice between in the previous article, the choice between Indian democracy is clear that heightened vigilance and proactive intervention to safeguard electoral integrity or passive acceptance of digital manipulation as a new political norm, it has come. So it has to be checked. Okay, let's move to the next quiz. So William Shakespeare, one of the, he's the stalwart in the field of English literature, poems, arts, right? So William Shakespeare was born on 23rd April. That's why quiz is there. So he has written 154 sonnets. Sonnets is a kind of poem, okay, which has 14 lines. So you can use his sonnets in your answer, okay, in your essays. Okay, essays these days cannot be just made up of your GS kind of content. It is checked. Essay papers are checked by English, English literature professors. So they appreciate when you use certain, stalwarts poem and their good linkage with how society should use their poems in the improvement of society. Okay, so first question is, which English poet hailed Shakespeare with the now famous epithet, not of an age but for all time? That means Shakespeare does not belong then. His whatever he has said and he has written, it is even totally valid today. So this tribute, that not of an age but for all time, is given to Shakespeare by Ben Jonson in his poem To the Memory of My Beloved, the author Mr. William Shakespeare. Okay, so William Shakespeare, he has talked about love. Okay, love, humans, relationships, the problems that humans face, which is even valid today. And even now, humans, the society needs love even now. Okay, so what was the name of Shakespeare's child who was speculated to be related to one of playwright's most famous tragedies? So we very well know Hamlet. Okay, so his son's name was Hamnet. Okay, so these are certain poems. Playwrights like Richard III, his other playwright Troilus and Cressida, his poem Venus and Adonis and Rape of Lucrece, right? All this are famous poems that can be quoted. What is the term used to define an excessive admiration for Shakespeare? It is called bardolatry. Bardolatry, it is termed by George Bernard Shaw. That is extreme obsessiveness with Shakespeare's idea. I've written few sonnets. Sonnet 18 of Shakespeare, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? And the other is Sonnet 116, love is no time's fool. Okay, so that means love belongs to all ages. Human relationships are very important. Now, nobody knows what it was written for. You can interpret it in your essays, and especially in the conclusion of your essay. It can be used in ending of essay to show beauty of love, human relationships, and what we need in today's society. Let's move to the next article. Next article. So we'll directly go to the science page. Here they're talking about AI can supercharge forecasting if it can weather some challenges. Okay, so this comes under GS paper 3, science and technology, development and application of AI in everyday life, that is weather forecasting. Two important challenges with using artificial intelligence and machine learning is to predict increasingly erratic weather, our availability of sufficient data and right human resources. So AI, ML, artificial intelligence and machine learning also needs right data, right? So it can be useful to forecast extreme weather events in India such as heat waves, droughts, torrential rainfalls and floods. So till now, the models that has been used by weather forecasting model is traditional weather forecasting, which uses numerical weather prediction models. Numerical, which is based on physics equation that simulate atmospheric behavior using the principles of fluid dynamics and thermodynamics. Okay, so AI models will start with the data instead. Okay, it will learn the relationship between inputs and outputs, and the AI doesn't need the prior knowledge of it. Okay, it just will. But sometimes it has also issues, and how will you curate those issues? That is the thing. Indian government announced a mission Mausam in September 2024 recently with allocation of 2,000 crore to enhance the country's weather and climate observations and to better understand modeling and forecasting for more accurate and timely services. The mission aims to develop better models and data-driven methods using AI. The Ministry of Earth Sciences, okay, has set up a dedicated AI and machine learning center to develop and test different techniques to improve short-range rain forecast and high resolution. So you should know about Mission MOSSAM and who is leading it, Ministry of Earth Sciences, and several things, machine learning, AI, Doppler radars, all these things are being used. Let's move to the next article. Now, these kind of articles can come. Cold atoms in space can weigh the Himalayas. So, this can come in the prelims science and technology statement that the cold atoms in space can weigh the Himalayas or not, something like that. So, people who have not read the possibilities of science can think it is not possible, and you can make the statement wrong. So, that's why you should keep reading science page to know the possibilities that are happening. So, that kind of statements are there in the science question of prelims also. Okay. So this is a new thing that generally we know that amount of gravitational force you experience on the Earth's surface is uneven because it depends on the amount of mass nearby. So if you are near a mountain range, the force you will experience there will be higher than the middle of a city. Okay. So this quantum gravity gradiometer that could be placed on board a satellite and launched into low Earth orbit. Okay. So in quantum gravity gradiometer, atoms of a particular element are cooled to near absolute zero in vacuum so that they behave like waves and are manipulated by lasers. So these are the technology they are using. In other words, a clump of ultra cold atoms and lasers in the space can measure how much the Himalaya weigh. You should know this, that a cold, ultra cold atoms in the space can measure the weight of Himalayas. Okay, so this QGC, this quantum gravity radiometer board on board a satellite could weigh around 125 kg and can be used to check the weights of things on the ground. Okay, that's it for 23rd April. Thank you.